What's good, everybody? So today we're gonna be having a look at this video right here, how Wuthering Waves outsmarted the gacha game trend. Brackets long game. As we all know, Wuthering Waves kind of had a rough start at the beginning. Yes, it was full of problems, full of bugs, optimization issues, lots of things, and a pretty rough story for the most part, especially at the beginning, but it has seemed to have transformed over the past year. The game seems to be getting better and better. They listen to community feedback, keep implementing things that people really want, and now especially we have just concluded 2.4, and it seems to be that Wuthering Waves has only been getting better, and I say that with my full heart and full honesty. So we're going to be taking a look at this perspective right here to see why that's the case and what exactly has been happening over the past year. So let's get right into the video.
Every game developer wants to make a successful game. That's a given. But how they go about it? That's where things get interesting. Some of the games we know go all in at launch, big marketing, big hype, burn bright, and then fizzle out just as fast. Only few actually manage to be flashy on day one, trending everywhere, breaking records, and still relevant for years.
Wuthering Waves was not one of them. Let's put that out there. Wuthering Waves was not a game that had a good launch. I remember it very vividly. In fact, Wuthering Waves launch was so bad for me that I stopped playing for a month after a week. That's what happened. I couldn't even play the game. I genuinely couldn't even play the game. This game couldn't have started even more on the back foot if you tried. It was a bit of a mess. It definitely wuthered some waves, but maybe not in the best way, that is for sure.
And some, not so much. And let's be real. Wuthering Waves did not exactly come out swinging with a perfect launch. Bugs, lag, awkward pacing. Yeah, we all saw it. But here's the thing.
1.0 was
Wuthering
rough.
Waves feels like one of those games that isn't chasing a quick win. Or maybe they realized they could not fulfill that at launch and decided to shift the plan instead. Because while some loud voices were already calling it flop gaming or EOS in the first week, I saw something different. This game isn't trying to go viral overnight. Sure, that would have been nice. It definitely would have.
I don't know if I would agree with that. I think every game wants to go viral immediately, right? Like Uma Musume, for example. I think it's every developer's intent for their game to be successful immediately. Like, who wouldn't want that, right? That seems kind of counterintuitive. Who wouldn't want their game to be successful? The problem that WuWa had, they changed so much from their last beta to release. A lot of the story being changed, a lot of the UI changes, a lot of optimizations that were changed kind of last minute, that they didn't release. 1.0 was not the story they really wanted to initially tell, so it felt choppy. And then everything after that is the story they wanted to tell, the story they put the time in to do. I think, to me, that is the underlying problem of why 1.0 didn't hit. They had to rearrange so much and kind of fabricate something from what they had from feedback rather than go with what they wanted to do.
Have boosted the popularity, but seems like now they're aiming for something a lot of people tend to overlook: sustainable growth. And how they do it? Long game plan. At launch, not everyone was enjoying the ride. Some players felt the color palette of the game was too dark and the story was hard to follow with all the in-game terminology. The character design felt a little bit generic, and honestly, it was just too laggy to play smoothly.
It was very unoptimized. I couldn't run it. Like I said, I couldn't run the game right at all.
Wuthering Waves was not just improving, it was spreading its wings. It almost felt like a second grand launch. Slowly but surely, their plan is working, which of course did not just come like that. They nailed the golden ratio as a gaming company.
Oh my god. We're using Ratio's bicep. That's crazy. I approve. Yeah, I approve.
And by that, I mean how they handled the first impression, maintaining the quality and securing the end result. Firstly, Wuthering Waves did a good job with the first impression. When the game first released, as a new player, you will get showered with tons of reward. You get free 5-star selection, free pull.
Please play our game! Please, 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 That's basically what they did, right? That's what WuWa did. When the first launch, there were so many problems. They were like, please, don't leave. Don't play our game. Here's selectors. Here's asteroids. Here's all these balls. Please stay. Like, if they didn't do that, lots of people would have left. You know that's the truth. We all know it's the truth. They had to. They had no choice.
From launch gift, another free pull from daily login, more from mail, even more from leveling up progression.
Yeah,
which
they were
basically gives
begging.
you about 108 pulls in total. And as a fresh new game, the exploration is waiting. Chest is waiting to be opened, land to be explored, which again will give you even more reward. The company managed to get players' attention by offering this many freebies. But with the game initial challenges during the release and the first week hype is gone,
John Cena! Sorry.
many people left. Whether it's because the game was too buggy or just because there's no other reason to play the game anymore.
That was me.
The quality
I quit Wuthering Waves to become a love and deep space content creator for 5 months. I shit you not. Yeah, I would play like the main patches like 1.1, 1.2, but I legit stopped playing WuWa as a content creator, and for 4-5 months I played Love and Deep Space as my main game on my channel. Yep, so I was one of these people. I made videos before WuWa even came out. I was one of the people that was really into it, really pushing for it. Then the game was just so unplayable for me that I did leave for a while. I left for a while, and it was only until like what, October, November that I came back properly, basically to be a WuWa creator again. It took me a while.
quality doesn't meet your expectation, you spend all your freebies, and you think there's another game that gives you a better experience. But instead of worrying on that,
I still played all the patches.
Kuro Games start fixing a lot of things in their game. And in 1.2, they give you Shang Liao for free, which is indeed boosted the attention for the game. But the
Yeah, bro, that 1.2 was pain, man. I think 1.2 was one of the worst patches in gacha gaming. It was pretty boring. So the fact they gave us a free Shangli Yao again to get people back on board, because it would have been rough, right? 1.0 kind of rough. 1.1 was good, a decent story people liked. We had Jinxie, Changli, right? And then to like fall off momentum with 1.2, a filler patch that was kind of giga boring, they would have lost a lot of people. They would have lost so many people who would have like dropped the game again because they didn't keep up the momentum, because again they're preparing for 1.3 and beyond. Giving a free Shangli Yao is kind of good marketing to keep audience retention, to at least log in, because to get him you had to actually do the event. It's not like you logged in and got him for free. You had to actually participate in the event enough. So it was actually kind of good marketing to keep people around desperately, I would want to say. Otherwise they would have lost a lot of momentum and a lot of player base. So that's one thing Kuro is good at doing, is kind of being able to put on the brakes but not lose so much momentum as to lose a player base. They can give you just enough to keep you around, and I feel like that was the whole point of Shang Liao.
catch this, you need to play the game to claim the character, which I will say it's a genius move from Kuro, because after a couple versions trying to fix their game, they wanted players to feel the difference between the rough version and the more polished one. And as we can see, it worked. And with the numbers of players keep growing, all the
I don't know if the numbers grew in 1.2. I probably feel like they would either stagnated or they fell off at this point. 1.1 was hype, but yeah, 1.2 was kind of rough.
have to do right now is making sure player will stay, because there's some other games that also offers a similar or maybe even better experience. And considering Wuthering Waves is a newer game, and with how players have already invested so much of their time, effort, even money on those older games, Kuro has to come with something really special to make players stay. And they did. While other companies or games force players to stay by locking their progression behind an unbreakable wall, like where you have to get the newest character to keep up, Kuro makes you stay by enhancing the core experience, the combat. Take Elusive Realm or Tower of Adversity.
Elusive Realm. 07. Oh. When will they ever give us back the OG Elusive Realm, man? It's been... I miss it. I miss it.
They're hard, no doubt, but
I think Tower of Adversity is probably one of the easiest endgame modes in gacha. It's even easier than Genshin Impact, right? Genshin Impact unironically has hard endgame. We live in a world right now where Genshin Impact has a harder endgame mode than Wuthering Waves. Because of like their HP inflation, the fact that the characters are very like synergistic to the point where you kind of need them to deal enough damage to the specific bosses. It's quite funny. Like, WuWa was meant to be this harder game for hardcore players, and it has the easiest endgame mode out of all the gachas right now. Am I saying anything false? WuWa is unironically pretty easy. Right? As long as you invest your characters, you could clear TOA.
The fact that player can still finish it.
Back then, TOA was kind of a challenge. Yeah, because you needed 3 teams. Kind of. Not really. But you needed... At that point when the game first came out, you had to level multiple characters, right? Right now, most people who play daily, we have all our characters leveled. We just get a new character every like a month or so. And then we just level one character and we're kind of done, right? Back then, we had to level whole teams. So of course it was going to take longer because we had so much to invest in teams. That's why it was harder then.
Without pulling the newest character, that's huge. That's exactly why we see Dungeons mains thriving in the community. It's a clear signal they're keeping
or just be a dungeon main and just do all the content anyway.
Power creep in check. Because let's be real, people hate oversaturated power creep. It might feel fun at first, but it's never the feature that stands the test of time. In version 2.0, after Whimpering Wastes was released, even Jian, the first limited 5-star character get released, got back on his feet and becoming one of the best characters to use.
Yeah! There's my boy! Yo, male characters are sick, dude! Yeah, Jian's great in WuWa. Jian's problem has always been his energy regeneration. The fact that he only deals damage when he ults, really, and has a buffed ult as well was pain. WuWa, you are never going to have that problem. So he's perfect for WuWa. He's also decent in TOA, right? But yeah, WuWa is where he shines, 100%.
In the mode. That's not just balancing, that's respect for old investment. But still, at one point, combat alone won't be enough. People will get bored, so Kuro has to find a way to make players stay by their own will. And somehow, they pull it off. Not with login rewards, not with 21 exchangeable items every patch, but with the simplest and most powerful feature they have. They listen. I know it sounds...
Devs listen? Devs listen? No way! What? To be fair, they have to. It's like, oh, praise WuWa devs for listening. No, they have to listen. They're competing with other games. If they don't listen, nobody will play their game. It's like a must-have criteria. If they didn't listen, we'd be in the shitter right now.
Sounds like
they care because you know what? They want to make money too. They want to make money too, so they have to listen to know what people want. How to be better than the competition. They have to. Otherwise, they're not going to make the money.
Exaggeration, but it is real. When there's something players don't like in the game, Kuro tries to do something about it. When there are complaints, they fix the problems, which you can absolutely tie this back to player-centered design. They prioritize the player's experience, needs, and preferences throughout the game's live service. And by doing this, Kuro earned trust of players in where the game is going. It creates a genuine sense of loyalty, which in return, Kuro supports player by actually listening, and players support Kuro by actually staying. And with all that, now Kuro managed to gain players' attention and secure the main audiences. What's left now is maintaining and pumping out quality service and content that meets expectation. And you know, for some reason, or maybe for a specific reason, Kuro decided to wrap up the Huanglong arc in version 1.4, which turned out to be a crucial part in their long-term plan.
I really liked 1.4. I know it was kind of like filler, but I remember having some of the most fun making content during 1.4. It was when Camellia came out, right? And that's when I came back to streaming Wuthering Waves properly. And I just had so much fun. I don't know why. I just have very, very fond memories of this time period. Coming back to play Wuthering Waves, pulling for Camellia, I just really remember it just like, it gave me my love back for the game. 1.4 really gave me my love back for WuWa. I know, crazy.
Across every patch from 1.0 to 1.4, we gotten updates, changes, fixes, all building up to something. So naturally, players started expecting more. Then comes 2.0 and Kuro did not just meet expectation. They answered them and teased us with the content we haven't seen anywhere else before.
It was such a shift in direction. Some people didn't like it because it looked too friendly and too happy, right? But I really welcomed the change of Ridicita at the carnival. They really went above and beyond and proved, hey, we have range. We have a game with range and we really care about our set and setting.
The game felt too dark for you, Rinascita made it brighter and livelier. Exploration felt annoying because of the terrain, now we can fly.
Bro, Huang Long is just a pain in the ass to explore. I know like, oh, like WuWa for having like good traversal mechanics in general, but it was still kind of boring to explore. It just felt kind of bare a lot of the places to me anyway. Compare it to like 2.0, oh my god.
And what really silly
2.0 is the game they wanted to make, I feel like. They actually were able to release this story they cared about. Unlike 1.0 where they had to change so much, 2.0 they really got to put everything into it.
The deal, at least for me, solemnly promised a big update every 6 months. About every 4 patches?
Septimon is our new update.
Expectation, because now we know that even if we hit a slow patch, it won't last long. No more endless content droughts. In version 1, we got okay to good content. In 2.0 to 2.3, we got great content. So naturally, people are now expecting 2.4 to 2.8 to be even better. And with the release of Septimon, it's hard to deny.
Septimon is so pretty. Septimon is so much more pretty than Ridicita.
Sharper. Character design on another level.
Hey, you know my goat!
All of this just secured their long game strategy. It's a win-win for everyone. Player get high quality content, exciting experience.
Also, let's not forget that they kept improving even on the combat side with 2.0. I know that people, you know, have differing opinions about negative effect statuses, but they're trying to introduce new mechanics and new ways of dealing damage into the game to make it more interesting. Whether or not the way they implement that is good or bad, that's a whole other discussion that we can have another time, right? But the fact that they're trying to introduce new ways to make combat interesting and engaging, again, debated, right? It's pretty good. Also, for example, Nightmare Echoes, introducing that into the game in 2.0 to give power buffs essentially to the older character units, keeping them alive and keeping them in the roster and like on the field is also a good thing. Like, they've always tried to implement things to improve the overall experience of the game, right? At every point, and they're still continuing to do that, right? So that's also a W. They're still trying to make it more interesting as we go along.
The game that grows with them in both gameplay and meta, while Kuro, on the other hand, get loyal community, a stable upward trend, and a steady revenue
and great
stream.
Cinematics.
Why? Because
cinematic power creep as well.
Something. It's worth investing your time, effort, and money, not just for what they promise, but for what they actually deliver. For example, they sell new skin for Jinshi. While it's more to the expensive side for some people, they still buy it. Jinshi's skin is about $30 if you haven't used the bonus.
It's not just a skin, it's a complete animation overhaul.
New avatar, even new weapon skin. And the latest one,
the game just feels good to play 100%.
I don't know about you, but I bought it without any hesitation. At least now, we know our money is going to the right place. And I'm genuinely happy watching the game grows. They're riding a bigger train now, with ads on China's Twin Tower, Geoff Keighley's Twitter, and even showing up at Summer Game Fest 2025. It's wild to think about this, but yeah, Wuthering Waves' long-term plan is paying off. But still, the real question is now, can they maintain this level of quality? Can they keep it going? Well, only time will tell. But for now, we're eating good. So what do you think? If you have anything to add to this, let us know in the comment section. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching.
Great video. Great video. Great video, loved it. WVid, definitely outlined some of the things that I liked about Wuthering Waves, what kept me going, what kept me interested, and a lot of it is true. I'm someone who kind of stopped playing the game for a while, and they came back during like 1.3, 1.4, and I fell in love with the game again. It truly is a game that I just enjoy for being a game. Outside of it being gacha, I love the story. Right? You guys always watch like my story reacts. I'm very engaged with the story. I love the cinematics, the way that presents themselves, the animation, the VAs, the dialogue, even getting new characters and their visuals, their idols, their attacks. Everything to me just feels really nice to do. It feels really nice to do. Do I think the game can have improvements in some areas? Yeah. But to me, the reasons why some of it needs improvement is because of like issues I have with gacha as a whole, rather than like Wuthering Waves being the problem, right? That's kind of where a lot of my criticisms lie with this particular game. It's not because of Wuthering Waves, it's because of it being a gacha model, right? But WuWa has absolutely been improving patch on patch, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. And hey, is this me being a bit of a Kuro Glazer right now? Sure, absolutely. Absolutely I am, but I'm very glad to be finally playing a game and a gacha that I actually really enjoy playing, okay? Hey, listen, I'm someone who still plays Hoyo games, right? I still play Hoyo games and I can still have fun with them when I want to, but just right now, me and my little ADHD brain, this is kind of my hyperfixation at the moment, but there are lots of new gachas coming. So the question is WuWa going to be able to keep up with the new gachas? And here's the interesting thing. They have managed to make a very loyal fan base. So I think even if quote-unquote better on paper gachas come out, the fact that WuWa has now built such a loyal community, I don't think it will matter too much when quote-unquote better games come out, because people will still play WuWa because they're just invested into the game, right? They're invested into the story and characters. So I think that's a W. At the end of the day, being able to generate a loyal community to your story is the best thing that you can do. And I think WuWa has done that and is doing that pretty much. So yeah, W video. Make sure you go and I'm going to subscribe and I'm going to like this, of course. Also, it's so interesting to see Null go from being a Genshin kind of creator or a Hoyo creator to posting basically Wuthering Waves is a huge W, okay? There we go. So I appreciate y'all. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video too. I'm live every single day on Twitch and Kick. My links are in the pinned comment down below. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Twitch.tv/Captain Cabinetz, Captain Cabinetz.
All right, they're running here. Where's the fucking shop?
It's on, Tom.
All right, go, girl. Come on.